For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. An ancient text describes the creation of humans by extraterrestrials. Many people believe that the miraculous evolutionary leap that led to what humanity is today resembles more of a laborious genetic engineering project than a natural evolutionary process. Surprisingly, there is an ancient text that speaks of the creation of humankind, referring to a time when several beings created humanity, an event also referenced in the Bible. Advanced cultures, such as the Sumerians, flourished without leaving traces of sequential evolutionary stages and demonstrated progressive cultural, architectural, and mathematical breakthroughs in their history. In a relatively short period, primitive man appeared seemingly out of nowhere, building massive empires and advanced civilizations that achieved the impossible, appearing to be far more developed than what history tells us. The origin and true reason for our existence were recorded by our ancestors thousands of years ago. Ancient people pointed to the stars, Orion, Sirius, and other constellations as the places from which the gods came, advanced beings who intervened both directly and indirectly in the evolutionary process of human beings. In the book of Genesis, the creation of man is described as follows. On the sixth day, 25 God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. 26. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." 27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them, male and female he created them. The most important phrase here is, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness." Who are they who created man in their image? It is possible that, according to the Sumerian texts, Adam was the result of a procedure that many interpret as in vitro fertilization or the product of ancient genetic engineering. What if the genetic blueprint came from the gods Enki, his sister Ninhursag, and Ningisida? These beings who created humanity are referred to in the Popol Vuh, the sacred book of the Maya, as the creator, the maker, the feathered serpent, those who create, those who give life to humanity, and they moved above the waters like rising light. Our work and toil have achieved their goal. The earth is covered with various forms of life and living creatures, and the Creator and Maker said to the animals, "Now speak our name." But the animals could not speak like humans. Then their creators said, "Our glory is still not perfect, since you cannot name us." The ancient text repeatedly uses the pronoun they perhaps after realizing that the animals could not declare their glorious work. They decided to create man in their image and likeness, so that he could tell of what they had done for the earth, so that he could praise their names. Did Darwin take the theory of evolution from a Scottish gardener at the time of the publication of On the Origin of Species in 1859? Its core ideas had already been formulated by Scottish forester and naval timber expert Patrick Matthew, according to two independent scholars. Nearly 30 years before Darwin and Wallace released their joint work, Matthew published a book in which he described the natural process of selection, explaining how a law of universal character had ensured the survival of the fittest species. Later, Darwin and his colleague Alfred Russel Wallace acknowledged Matthew's precedents, but claimed they were unaware of his work before developing their own theory and denied any possibility of plagiarism. Both insisted they had arrived at the theory of natural selection independently. Even though Matthew's work had seen the light of day long before Darwin and Wallace's, historians credited the creation of the theory of natural selection to the latter two. In fact, Darwin's own notes suggest he only conceived of the idea in 1838. His first essay on natural selection was published in 1842, and the theory was officially presented in 1858 to the Linnean Society in London. On the Origin of Species came out a year later. In a study published in the Biological Journal of the Linnean Society, Michael Wheel of King's College London explains that unlike Darwin, Matthew used a deductive approach and concisely outlined his theory in his 1831 book on naval timber and arboriculture. Darwin's more detailed book wouldn't appear until 1859. In his work, aside from naval topics, Matthew explained that selection ensured not just survival of the fittest trees, but also led to changes in species over generations. He also believed that catastrophes could lead to the survival of the most primitive organisms, and in the absence of competition after such catastrophes, evolution progressed at faster rates. Matthew was a supporter of Lamarckism and thought evolution could speed up depending on the will of the organism. Darwin publicly acknowledged Matthew's work only in 1860, while Wallace did so in 1879, calling the Scotsman one of the most original thinkers of the 19th century. As Wheel noted, Matthew's contribution has yet to be properly recognized by modern geneticists, prompting him to create a dedicated website about the scientist's life and work. On his part, Dr. Mike Sutton, a criminologist at Nottingham Trent University, spent years investigating Darwin's claim to the theory of evolution. He studied rare sources, cross-reference citations, and unpublished notes from Darwin, concluding that Darwin had, in fact, read Matthew's work before developing his own. Despite Darwin's claims that Matthew's ideas were unnoticed by the scientific community, recently discovered data show that his book on naval timber and arboriculture was well known and widely read, says Sutton. I have no doubt that Darwin read Matthew's work and used it as a foundation for On the Origin of Species. Matthew's book convinced Darwin of the importance of natural selection, Sutton states. He adds, Darwin's work was credited because he managed to popularize the theory within the scientific community. But this does not negate the fact that he plagiarized from Matthew, something my research clearly demonstrates. Have we been lied to about human origins and history? No, we don't have all the answers to the countless enigmas that have puzzled experts for decades. But we do have what many believe is evidence that the origin of humanity and our history are far from complete. These are just a few of the many discoveries that push the boundaries of our understanding of human origin, ancient civilizations, and life on Earth. Maybe it's time for a long overdue re-evaluation, one that explains how so many of these mysteries might actually make sense. It seems there is massive suppression preventing conventional experts from thoroughly investigating certain findings. The truth is, mainstream science consistently fails to address and explain countless discoveries made on Earth throughout history. Each new discovery related to ancient human remains seems to push humanity's origins further and further back in time. Recently, scientists found evidence that an unknown, previously lost human species once lived on Earth and interbred with modern humans thousands of years ago. A researcher featured in Molecular Biology and Evolution uncovered a controversial finding that challenges what we've been told about our ancestors. And this is just one of many recent discoveries pushing the boundaries of human origins to a point where much of what we've been taught needs rewriting. In Australia, experts discovered that the first humans settled the continent around 65,000 years ago, effectively rewriting history textbooks. This completely shattered earlier estimates that placed human settlement in Australia around 45,000 years ago. But there's more. Take a quick trip to the African continent, where we find 3.6 million year-old ancient human footprints. In 2016, scientists discovered 13 footprints dated through analysis to a staggering 3.6 million years ago. Found in what is now Tanzania, these ancient footprints were preserved thanks to a region that, at the time, was covered in wet volcanic ash. Our ancestors walked through the area millions of years ago. From Africa, we moved to Siberia, where archaeologists discovered the tooth of a young girl who lived there 128,000 years ago. What's fascinating about this find is that it's considered one of the oldest known human species discovered in Central Asia and believed to be between 50,000 and 100,000 years older than the previously known Denisovan fossil. Stunning, right? But as you probably know, there's still much more. A shin bone found about 80 years ago was recently subjected to testing, revealing that the 124,000-year-old Neanderthal fossil, excavated in Germany from the Hollenstein Stadel Cave, contains modern human DNA. Scientists now believe this proves the out of Africa migration happened much earlier, around 270,000 years ago, meaning we must rewrite, once again, much of what we thought we knew about human history. Another astonishing discovery was made in Morocco, where experts found 300,000-year-old bones shedding light on Homo sapiens evolution and showing that our species evolved at least 100,000 years earlier than previously thought. Again, rewriting humanity's timeline. Then comes the even more surprising idea that Europe, not Africa, might be the cradle of humanity. Researchers found a 7.2 million-year-old fossil suggesting that modern humans may have originated in the Mediterranean, not Africa. But let's take a break from human origins and look at the UNLESS structures around the world that completely challenge our understanding of ancient civilizations and their technological capabilities. First, the Great Pyramid of Giza and the ancient Egyptian civilization. The Great Pyramid remains an enigma to experts who've studied it for over a century. No one knows for certain how or even who exactly built it. While many point to Khufu as the builder, experts don't seem entirely convinced. Then there's the extraordinary precision in its construction. It is the most accurately aligned existing pyramid, facing true north, with only 3 6/8 of a degree of error. It's also located at the geographical center of the landmass, and is the only known 8-sided pyramid in Egypt. From the pyramid, we turn to the capabilities of ancient Egyptians, and whether they may have been far more advanced than we give them credit for. Ancient Egyptian mummies show traces of tobacco and cocaine, plants that only grew in the Americas at the time. So how did they end up in Egypt? One explanation: the ancient Egyptians may have been capable of transoceanic travel thousands of years ago. We also have the Gosford glyphs, allegedly Egyptian hieroglyphs carved into stone in Brisbane Water National Park, Kariong, Australia. Believed to be over 100 years old in local folklore, the 250 carvings are a highly controversial subject, dismissed by many modern Egyptologists as an elaborate hoax, mainly because, well, they're in Australia, and there are also artifacts dated to periods when, according to conventional science, there shouldn't have been anyone on Earth. Take, for example, the 400-million-year-old hammer, discovered in London, Texas, in 1934. The head of the hammer is believed to have been made from iron of a purity achievable only with modern technology. Tests revealed it was made of 97% pure iron, 2% chlorine, and 1% sulfur. That can't be real, right? In China, we have the curious 150,000-year-old Beigong pipes, which many consider evidence of a technologically advanced civilization existing in the region hundreds of thousands of years ago. Experts claim 8% of the material in the pipes cannot be identified. The pipes gained attention in 2007 when China's largest state-run newspaper published a feature on them. But the controversies keep coming. Consider the Sumerian king list, which states, in 5 cities, 8 kings, they ruled for 200 years. Then the flood swept over? How could 8 kings rule for 200 years? Were they immortal? Extraterrestrial. There's also the Al-Nasla megalith, a massive rock split in two with laser-like precision, located in the Oasis of Tama, Saudi Arabia. Ever since its discovery, the split boulder has puzzled experts. Some say it's a natural formation, while others claim advanced technology must have been used. And while we're on such controversial objects, we can't forget Pumapunku. Pumapunku is an ancient archaeological site located 72 kilometers west of La Paz, deep in the Andes. The site features some of the largest intricately carved stones in the Americas. One of the largest stones is 7.81 meters long, 5.17 meters wide, and 1.07 meters thick, weighing around 131 metric tons. How on earth did ancient people move this? And if the size doesn't blow your mind, the precise cuts and smooth surfaces will. In some places, not even a sheet of paper can fit between the massive stones. Now let's head over to Ollantaytambo, another mind-blowing site. Sitting at 3,000 meters altitude, about 70 kilometers from Cusco, Peru, Ollantaytambo, like Pumapunku, features gigantic stone blocks, many weighing over 70 tons, quarried from a mountain slope dozens of kilometers away. One of the most fascinating features is the arrangement of 6 massive monoliths placed so precisely that, again, not even a paper can slide between them. Fascinating, right? But there are countless other archaeological sites worth mentioning. Take the Concho Stone, discovered in 1887. It's a 5,000-year-old slab etched with about 90 intricate spirals and indentations, believed by some to represent a cosmic map. As you can see, countless discoveries have been made across the globe, each seemingly pushing our understanding of humanity, our origins, and ancient civilizations to the limit. Maybe it's time for conventional scholars to rewrite our history books and finally give us a much-needed update on the true story of the human race.